Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be what your silence does for your energy. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So frequently on the channel, I mention your silence and how it is empowering. And that is a pivotal part of the healing path, to utilize and to use your silence to not listen or pay attention to the toxic rhetoric of the narcissist or the flying monkeys, etc. This video is about to explain to you how your silence will re-energize you. Now, when we were in the narcissistic relationship, one thing that happened for certain is we were silenced, meaning we did not have a voice in that relationship. We were doing what the narcissist wanted us to do, when they wanted us to do these things, and how and times and all these things. Our life was being controlled essentially, and we were putting the narcissist way high up on the pedestal, way in front of ourselves, to the detriment of ourselves. But back then we didn't know what narcissism was. We weren't educated on the narcissistic abusive cycle, so perhaps we fell in love with this person. Maybe it was our mom or dad, a sibling, coworker, colleague, person in a hobby or organization you are in or were a part of. Maybe it was your wife or husband, who knows? Point being is, eventually something clicked within you and you got your first light bulb moment, and you deduced that narcissism was affecting you in your life for a period of time, and maybe it still is. But the point being is, your silence, what your silence does for your energy, it really recharges you and your battery. Before I fully jump into that, understand that when you were in the relationship, you were being pulled left, right, and center. You were being gaslit. You were being stonewalled. You were certainly experiencing triangulation and the smear campaign and a lot of toxic behavior that I've now gone over the years. All of these things kept on beating you down day after day, week after week, month after month, perhaps even decade after decade. And something, again, had to give. It had to snap. It had to break. And what happened there is you finally figured out not only what narcissism was, but that you being silenced when you were in the relationship, that doesn't serve you any longer. You have a voice. It's meant to be utilized and to be used. Your voice is as powerful as anybody's voice on the planet, and it is certainly way more powerful than the narcissist. The thing is back then when you were in the relationship, you were giving to a fault. Perhaps you were a people pleaser, a yes person. Perhaps you did not have boundaries and didn't know your value or your worth. Now you're getting the wisdom. You are understanding so much about yourself, and you're understanding that you are extremely important and you are extremely powerful, and you will not be silenced any longer. Flip it now. Your silence is very important for you, because when you were giving your words, your emotions, your thoughts, your hopes, dreams, aspirations, your goals, everything about you to the narcissist, they were just listening to what you were sharing, and they were putting it back in their mind, and they're going to weaponize against you at a later date. So example, let's say you wanted to graduate college. Well, they would probably do their best to make sure you didn't graduate college. And then eventually when you didn't, maybe a couple of years go by, they would say, wow, it's such a shame you didn't graduate college. I mean, I was really hoping you were going to do that. And then you're like, yeah, me too, but things change and I couldn't do it. But back then you didn't realize that those words from the narcissist, maybe even your own mom or dad, they never wanted you to graduate college. And now you're seeing the light. Now you're becoming awakened and aware. And instead of you explaining something to them like, oh my gosh, I figured out who you are, this is unbelievable, like, you never had my best interest at heart, I'm talking about your mom or dad who didn't want you to graduate university as the example. Well, you could do that, that's fine, but now you're getting the wisdom, so you don't have to say anything. You can recognize from afar that, yeah, they didn't have your best interest at heart in graduating college or university, and they don't have your best interest at heart now, because they're not going to change. They will never, ever improve. If they didn't have your best interest at heart in the past, believe me, it's not going to magically change, and they're going to have an epiphany or an awakening moment and say, wow, I've been a nasty, toxic person to my child or to virtually everybody I encountered. It's time for me to change up and be a better person. That will not happen. It's not going to happen in this lifetime or any lifetime, because the narcissist at their core, what they want to do is they want to take and take and take. And when they're done, what do they want to do? That's right, they want to take more. But on top of that, they want people silenced all around them. That's like, think about the flying monkeys. Each and every flying monkey has to be in line, or perhaps they will be the next target, or the next person the narcissist decides to boot out of the friend group or to use the smear campaign. This is why anybody who is one step away from the narcissist is a potential candidate to be the next victim, to be the next target, to be the next person who the narcissist doesn't like the way that person's behaving, so they try to blow up their life. And this happens so frequently. Think about the workplace. You're doing great at your job. You've been there 5, 10 years. Everything's going swimmingly. All of a sudden, there's a shift in management. The new boss comes in and recognizes that you're a superstar on the job, and everyone in the company knows it too. You're invaluable. But what does the narcissist want to do there? They want to silence you. They don't give you the best jobs or projects. Next thing you know, you're scratching your head saying, wait, I used to be one of the best people here producing at such a high level. Now I'm given breadcrumbs. I don't even want to go to work. That's on purpose. It's because the new management doesn't want you to be there, and they're silencing you. Now, all these examples, I can share many more, but I want to fast forward to why your silence recharges your energy, what it does for your energy. Because once you have acquired the wisdom on the narcissistic abusive cycle, you realize that your silence is a superpower, because you can't go, or maybe you tried in the past to go to the narcissist looking for closure when the relationship ended. The narcissist can't give you closure, they won't give you closure, and they do not want to give you closure because it would be too painful for them to actually have to introspect and recognize all their poor behavior that they administered to you throughout that relationship, waiting for it to break, waiting for you to experience reactive abuse, waiting for you to continue to work for a fault for the narcissist until something gave up, or until the new supply fell in line and the narcissist could then end that relationship with you. That's how the cycle goes on and on. But your silence is a superpower, and it will really recharge your energy post-relationship, because now you've slowed your life down. Now you don't explain yourself or defend yourself to anybody, which includes the narcissist. It includes anybody that you surround yourself with. People now have to jump through hoops to get to you. You no longer jump through hoops to get to anybody. You don't have to prove yourself. Let's say you went on a recent trip somewhere. Maybe you traveled around the world, or traveled to a city, town, state, country, or joined a hobby group, etc. And now you've healed. You're at the pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, because you processed everything about the narcissistic relationship, or most things, or you are approaching the pinnacle of indifference. But now you're stepping out. You're entering the world again. And let's use hobbies or exercise as an example. When you do that, you now can look at people. You now can recognize people that are oversharing information. You can see toxicity from afar. You can watch an empath you can watch an empath, an uneducated empath, explain themselves to somebody who perhaps even turns out to be a narcissist. But you can observe and see all the different kinds and different nuances within people. Back then, when you're in the relationship, you couldn't do that because you were in the devaluation stage. You were way deep in the narcissistic fog, and you were giving to a fault. You were working for that relationship, and you were anything but being listened to. You were being silenced, and your own home perhaps was taken over by the narcissist. Maybe they put all their books or work or everything on the kitchen table, the dining room table, and so you couldn't use that. Maybe they overtook certain areas in your house, meaning the TV room or the exercise room. Maybe they became areas that the narcissist commandeered. These things happen all the time when you're in narcissistic relationships. You lose your sense of self, you lose your identity, you lose your home, you lose everything that makes you you, which include your time, money, energy, effort, love, empathy, status, social circle, network. The narcissist wants to take everything they possibly can from you. But one thing they can't take from you post-relationship is your silence, or being silent. Because you now know that if you were giving your energy away to an energy vampire or the narcissist, or maybe just people who are over talking or very curious about your life post-narcissistic relationship, it's not going to serve you. What serves you is doing what you want, when you want, and with whom. You don't do things for people just because they're asking you to do things. Remember, when you were in the narcissistic relationship, you were doing everything for them. You were doing anything that they wanted you to do, going to the store, running errands, paying bills, being available, waiting for them, picking them up, dropping them off, going to the airport and having huge posters with glitter and balloons, acting like they just came home and they're the Queen of England, when in fact they only went away for a 2-day trip halfway across the state, but they came back and they wanted to be honored and celebrated like they just returned back home from being away for 10 years. These are the things that we did. These are the things that some people are still doing because they don't have the wisdom. They didn't find that needle in a haystack. But you have, you did, and you are acquiring all the tools now. And you now know that there are energy vampires everywhere, all around you. But your silence, what it does for your energy, it allows your energy to return. It allows you to go at the speed of life that you want to go at. When you are post-narcissistic relationship, when you are let's say, self-isolating. You're in that cocoon of boundaries, and you don't necessarily want to go out. You don't want to see people, and the people you're talking to, they're getting burnt out because they can't wrap their head around what you're talking about, which is the narcissistic cycle and why you feel the way you feel, and why you lost weight or gained weight, or why your state of mind isn't what it was before, because the ending of that relationship was a very, very challenging ending, to say the least, and you have to heal from this relationship. But when you are in that cocoon of boundaries, as I mentioned, and I created that video 2 years ago, when you're in there, that's when your silence with yourself, that's when the healing really begins. Because yes, there will be painful days and certainly painful evenings. There'll be challenging times when you'll be crying, and there'll be times when you'll get light bulb moments when you're watching videos, or when you're journaling, or when you're reading, and there'll be triggers around you when you hear a certain song, or you smell a perfume or a cologne, or you smell a food dish, or you see a commercial on TV or a movie or something that will remind you of the narcissistic relationship. These are all parts of the healing path. Each and every one of us has to experience these to go through them. We all need to figure out what is our strength, or what our strengths are, and what our weaknesses are. The weaknesses we need to shore up. Example, going no contact and blocking the narcissist. Did you do that? If you did do that, my hope is that you have maintained no contact and you are not doing the blocking, unblocking, blocking, unblocking game. But if that's what you're doing, I get it. Just continue to get stronger each and every day. Continue to pull away from the pull of the narcissistic relationship or the narcissist. Don't accept a Hoover, and realize that the path is for you to be silent, to not offer anything, any information about yourself, your whereabouts, your hair color, who you're seeing, what you're doing, your job, if you're going on vacation, if you've reclaimed your hobbies, what book you're reading, etc. The narcissist should know absolutely nothing about you, but branch it out now. It's the same thing with everybody. If you want to share information with people, maybe your own family members who aren't toxic, maybe they are or aren't, but if you want to share information with them, you do it. But remember, people communicate with other people, and many times people tell non-truths, and many times the narcissist will use the smear campaign. So be very careful or cautious with what information you share about yourself. Now, again, I'm not suggesting to not talk to people. I'm suggesting quite the opposite, or quite the contrary. When you've healed, communicate with whomever you want to, as long as they are not narcissistic individuals, or if they're not people from that period of time that are one step away from the narcissist, or if these are energy vampires or people that don't have your best interest at heart. Because what you're going to do is you're going to realize post-narcissistic relationship, your life after the huge void that you'll have to fill, which isn't for this video, but after that void and you fill it up with yourself, and perhaps you are in the cocoon of boundaries, that's when you're going to realize that, wow, that was a very challenging relationship. I'm out of it. I'm getting stronger. It's taking me a lot longer than I thought, probably. But each and every day you do feel better. And the further you get away from the narcissist in that relationship, the stronger you do get. And the more your mind gets clear, you see things much clearer than you did before. And then you realize, wow, I'm so grateful to be out of that relationship. I actually wish I didn't go through it, but I had to because there was no other way. It wasn't a coincidence I went through it, because I now entered the third version of myself, which is where I am right now, or you're approaching that. And all these things are adding up to one thing: you becoming awakened and aware, enlightened and empowered. You see, you are now changed forever. And you now know that your silence is a superpower, and conquering the narcissistic abusive cycle, it is a badge of honor times, I can't even tell you the multiplier, but the point is, you did something that you did not even know you were capable of. You conquered something that you did not even know existed on the planet. So now, post-relationship, once you've healed, your silence speaks volumes. Your silence empowers you. It recharges your battery. It allows you to be you. It allows you to do what you want, when you want, with whom. All of these things I'm mentioning are things you couldn't do when you're in the narcissistic relationship. Remember, you were being gaslit. You were walking around on eggshells. You were giving to a fault. You were a pawn and a puppet. You had to do so many things for the narcissist, because if you didn't do them, there would be a price to pay. And if you did do them, and you did them to the best of your ability, it still wouldn't be good enough, because the narcissist wouldn't give you credit for anything, because they looked at you as the walking apology, as an unpaid helper, as a sounding board, as a person who would regulate their childlike temper tantrum like emotions. This is what the narcissist needs. They need people to believe in the mask. They need people that they can silence. They need people that they can take from. They need people to believe in the narcissist. And that was you for a period of time, but it's not you any longer. So now you can observe. Let's say you go to a dinner or barbecue this weekend, post-relationship, and you've healed. Well, you can go to that barbecue or dinner and you can observe people's communication patterns and the way they talk with each other, and you can identify, whoa, that person could be challenging, or wow, that person, they're absolutely beautiful. They're like me. They're absolutely, they get it. They're just observing like I am. Maybe they went through something. And you know what? If you struck up a conversation with that person at that dinner or barbecue and said a few words to them, you could probably tell just by looking at their eyes if they've been through something. And I can assure you, if they have been, they could probably tell it in your eyes, just the way that you're reading the room, the way you're conserving your energy, the way you are silent in that environment. And I'm not saying you're not talking to people. What I'm suggesting is you don't overshare. You don't believe that everybody now you encounter has your best interests at heart. It's actually quite the contrary. Most people don't, and many people are envious and or jealous of you. But another part of that is that many people can't even wrap their head around what you went through. So why try to explain something to somebody when they can't even understand what the concept is? I hope you understand that part. That's for a whole separate video series. What I'm sharing before I close the video is this, is how your silence, it recharges your battery and it allows your energy to return post-relationship, because you can't explain or defend yourself to the narcissist. We tried that when we were in the relationship. It was like talking, it didn't serve us, let's put it that way. Now, once we've actually understood that the narcissist never had our best interest at heart, and they don't have anybody's best interest at heart other than their own, then we realized that we were manipulated, we were taken advantage of, we were an open book, we were wearing our heart on our sleeves, and we were doing everything we thought we should have done when we were in that relationship. And with a healthier, stable person who's similar to you perhaps, maybe that would be accurate. I can't quite say, but I can say this, is if you are a healthy or stable person, you're not gonna weaponize information against the person that told you that, and you're not gonna spread lies about them or instill a smear campaign or try to drive wedges between that person and virtually anything that matters to them, which includes their own kids, parents, siblings, colleagues, neighbors, network of friends, etc. The narcissist is envious and jealous, and what they want to do is they want to go on from person to person, place to place, business to business, city to city, town to town, country to country, taking anything they possibly can and leaving a trail of destruction. And they honestly, sincerely do not believe that you will ever figure them out, but you did, and here you are. So now your silence, not only is it a superpower, but it allows you to keep your battery charged. It allows you to keep your cup full. It allows you to share information with whomever you want to, and to not overshare, and to not defend or explain anything about you, your circumstances, where you've been, where you are, or where you're going, because this is your journey, it's your path, just like it's my journey and my path. And we had to go through something for a long period of time to discover who we really were, because we had to lose ourselves to find ourselves. Most people on the planet don't do that. They just go through life in the average everyday fog, and that's not a bad thing. That's where I was for a long period of time, and probably that's where you were. But then you entered the narcissistic relationship, and your whole life was a whirlwind. It was on the roller coaster of emotions, and next thing you know, you were oversharing, and then when the narcissist knew as much about you as they wanted to figure out, they silenced you, and then you were trained and tricked and groomed and trapped, and the next thing you know, the relationship ended however it did, and then you had to put yourself back together. You had to heal from that relationship. The narcissist just slithered on into the night onto a new source of supply or multiple sources of supply, because they don't care about anybody. They just want to be a doomsday machine, going through life, taking as much as they possibly can, collecting broken hearts, collecting relationships, collecting people's division of assets and division of relationships with their own kids, etc. That's what the narcissist wants. But what they don't realize is we're catching on, and we're understanding how the narcissist works, what the loop is, how we can stay out of the cycle, how we can protect and insulate ourselves, and our silence, meaning we are silent ourselves. That speaks volumes, not only to the narcissist, but to anybody we encounter in the future. There's a huge difference when you were in the relationship, when the narcissist was silencing you, than post-relationship, when you use your silence as a superpower. So everyone, I hope you liked the video. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that you are not alone. And your silence, it recharges your energy. What it does for your energy, it allows your energy to return. It allows you to get your cup full. It allows you to heal. It allows you to feel like yourself again. This will take time, but I'm telling you, once you reach that pinnacle of indifference, your life's changed forever. And your cup will be full for the rest of your life, because you no longer take the bait. You no longer tolerate poor behavior. You don't have a narcissist in your life. You've gone no contact, blocked them, etc. And you can see the signs, and you can read people extremely well now, because you're not in the fog. You are now very clear, and you now have acquired a tool, or you've now acquired something that most people don't acquire, which is the wisdom on the narcissistic abusive cycle. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, bye, you guys. And be silent, be smart, and be silent, you guys. I love you. Bye.